Hi, I'm Anton.
I'm Nikki.
And again, yes, and the wine. Hello, same glasses this time as well. Today we're going to be talking about Lenormands, not tarot, and difficult cards, the cards that people find a bit more difficult in interpreting in terms of combination or on their own as well. I think I'll start us off with one, and I'll let you do that one because you're probably better than I. And one of the ones I usually get stuck with, and not because I've had too much wine, it's the cross. Because even though I'm sort of learning still, I'm better now, I hope. There are so many different interpretations. Yes, it's a burden. No, it's fate. Nikki was saying to me the other day, well, I see the cross as positive. I actually quite like it.
We got to understand that for most people out there that they don't know I'm a Jupiter rising, I see most things as positive. I try.
That's fine, but you obviously see there are.
Yeah,
in fact,
no, I do.
When I researched it, I found that there are a lot of other meanings that are actually positive.
Yep.
For me, I see it and instantly I think burden, something ending, or which is totally not, because generally speaking, is the coffin, isn't it, in terms of ending?
Yeah, it doesn't.
But to me, it's like putting the cross on something. It's like a graveyard. You've put the cross on it, and
you love graveyards.
Well, I do.
No, I like cemeteries too, but I think when we look at the cross, I think we've got to note that this is the mystical. And that is the...
And a lot of the time is in fact, the meaning is given as fate.
Yeah, because it's a cross to bear. So lots of people say it's a cross to bear, which is part burden, and it's fate, so something's going to happen and it's out of your control. In mine, I quite like, because to me, this is a grave, but it's got ravens, and ravens are messengers. So they're winged messengers. So it's messengers from messages from above or higher.
Spiritual.
Yeah. So it's kind of and the fact that it's actually beyond the grave. I also see this as a very mediumship card. Like when this comes up, I usually think that a relative. And as a medium, I tend to interpret that way. It's kind of a message from beyond the grave to me, because of this card. Not so much on that depiction when it's just got the cross. But when I see that, I kind of think, oh, it's a message from beyond the grave. It's the past. I see this very much coming up for past loves. And you'll see it very close to the person card for the opposite sex. So often it's just past. Some people will say it's karmic. People mostly misinterpret karmic from what it actually is, and karma in general. So I kind of see this as kind of communication. So when it comes in my readings, I'll often see it as a something from my guides or something from kind of my loved ones.
I think sometimes that's what happens with Lenormands, is that the symbols are so clear and so simple, and then your brain goes into flights of fancy into trying and making it.
No, because I think it depends on the deck. That is your traditional Lenormand deck is a symbol, so it'll have the cross, and that's it. It's not going to have any more embellishment. The mystical has more embellishment, and so does this deck, which is, what's it, the Pixie?
It's based on, Pixie's Lenormand is based on the Rider-Waite.
So it has more deck. Tarot, the difference, I think people get confused, and we had somebody ask us the other day about the difference between tarot and Lenormand. Lenormand is symbolic, but it's also picking the one symbol. Whereas you find tarot, you've got 100 different symbols in one card. This tends to be, in general, if you have a cross, it's a cross, and they show you just the cross. That's
why I see it as, okay, it's a cross, it's deaded.
Yeah, but then you can look at, if you want to look at just the symbology, you would say cross of matter, because that is the cross of matter. That probably is not a good representation of the cross of matter. I should possibly have not done that. But the cross of matter is about bringing things to fruition, from thoughts into physical. So it depends whether the Lenormand is very much fortune telling. And then if people were asking for what's going to happen, you'd say, well, actually, someone's that's someone from the past, or that's someone that's past, or that's a burden that you're letting go. And I think nowadays most people don't do strictly fortune telling, so I think that's quite difficult to take your mind out of the.
Well, yeah, that's why I've been going for 3 months now, trying to learn this, and no matter how much wine I'm consuming, I'm not really. I know I'm actually better. I struggle with the ground to blow still. I do. I really do. It's too much to take in at once. But the next card as well. That's
you're going to make me do the lily?
Yeah, I am.
The lily.
That sounded wrong.
The lily is a confusing card for most people. Its depiction in various decks is very different. So here you get this.
Well, yeah, you got the lilies.
Yeah. Now, even though these are quite pictorial decks and very, embellished, the usual deck has just one lily. But it has two very different meanings. It has a kind of like family and peace and serenity and all of those things. And then it has sex.
Yes, which to me doesn't make any sense.
You don't have sex with your family.
I can see the whip.
Yeah, and I think this is what. And I think this is what. But I think it's to do with the flower itself and the shape of the flower and the stamen of the flower.
I've never thought of having sex with a lily.
I'm not suggesting that you have sex with a lily.
No, you said the shape, so I'm thinking, what does the shape of the lily? Oh,
yeah. It's just dawned on you now.
Yeah, but that's just in the feminine side, though. Because unless a man is quite bizarrely shaped, then
no. But if you look at the stamens of a lily, as well, think about it. So it's receptive. But anyway,
okay.
So that's the only link that I can think of with the lily. And because lilies as a flower, if you were looking at the symbology of that, then lilies tend to mean peace in general, and different colours mean, usually you'll find the lily depicted as white lily. And that's lilies, a funeral. That's a funeral.
Lilies in Italy are a funeral.
They're a funeral because of peace. They're meant to represent.
Not just funeral. I mean, I had lilies for my first communion and christening.
And purity. Because
purity,
white also means purity, which goes completely against the whole sex thing.
Well, yes.
Yeah, but so when we look at the symbology of the flower, then the flower is talking about, and the colour. So it would usually be white as it would be here.
Yes.
And that's purity, and that's also, what did I say about death? Oh, that is usually peace. So, when you give lilies to someone, when they're, grieving or on a coffin or, in a funeral, you're kind of wishing peace on them as they pass over and to the family. So
I can understand what you're saying about the sex connection, but considering that when the symbols in Lenormand were 200 years ago, 100 years ago, I don't exactly know the date when
Napoleon, they tend to come from around
the Napoleonic era. So I'm thinking, things were a bit different than they are now in terms that they are much more open. I just find it difficult to interpret it, even on a 3-card spread where you could. I just make an example. I don't know what you got there, where you got cross lily and a significator somewhere.
No, but cross lily is easy because
then
to me, I would look at that as more a funeral. Like to me, that's more a funeral. Someone passed
something
because if you also look at the lilies, it can be seen as an older man because it links to the king of cups.
Moon and lily. Then sorry, this other way. Moon and
lily. Which way is it?
This way.
Oh, it's this way. Oh, sorry. Lily and moon. Yeah. So moon and lily. Again, let's talk about the moon first, because moon seems to be a difficult card for some people.
Looking at a different.
Yeah. So let's talk, and then we'll bring those both together. But the moon for tarot readers, the moon in tarot is. I'll let you explain the moon in tarot.
Well, it's not a sad card, but it's not a happy card either, isn't it? It's very introverted. It's about cycles. It's about emotions. It's about confronting. In a sense, and depending on the context of the reading, also confronting your shadow, generally speaking, if I'm thinking Rider-Waite, which I don't really use, so I'm going by memory now, it's just a depiction of the moon, and there's quite a lot of water in there, and two wolves. Am I correct?
Wolves and sometimes a crayfish.
And a crab or a crayfish.
Yeah, because it's your subconscious coming out of the water.
Yes, so this is about emotions coming up, subconscious, shadows. In the Lenormand, I have a habit of calling them Lennies because they're my friends now. This is actually a more positive card. It can come out in different ways. For me, generally, it tends to come out about emotions and romance. But it can be about recognition. It can be about being successful as well. It depends from the cards.
It's different because success tends to be the sun. The moon here is kind of has emotions. The technical
creativity as well a lot.
Yeah, so
creative success, recognition. If coupled with cards that are about work, it could be that you're successful in your creative
and it can
endeavors.
be a side business as well, like what you really want to do.
But it can also be dreams if it comes out for you for emotions, like it does for me generally.
But that's your subconscious, though. But yes, whereas the tarot is focused very much. It's a little bit of a darker card. When you see the tarot moon, it usually means that there's some undercurrent. There's illusion.
It makes me feel like there's something repressed as well.
Yeah. So it's not. Whereas the moon here, technically, as a fortune telling card, is positive. Yes. There's nothing negative about it. And because of that, with Lenormand, it's very easy to say positive and negative, whereas tarot, it can be positive and it can be negative. Whereas the moon, it's positive. If this is on an asking about whether something's going to happen as a 3-carder or a 2-carder or a 1, then this coming out says yes. So it's a positive card, whereas the cross is a negative card. So if that comes out as a yes and no as the end of it, then that's a no.
Yeah.
So whereas tarot, it kind of is yes, maybe. It's not as kind of direct. When you get the moon and the lilies, you would say that perhaps you get recognition that brings you serenity.
Yeah, okay, it brings you peace.
Yeah.
Something
so
like
when you do Lenormand's, you want to create a sentence.
Or you get good sex.
Yeah, sex with an older man, because it also can be an older man because it's the king. It's the king of cups.
It's the king of cups. No.
Or king of hearts, but that translates to the king of cups. Cups if you're the king you don't like.
No, because it's too emotional.
Says a Pisces.
Says a Pisces.
Yeah.
Anyway, to wrap up.
Yeah. We'll be doing another one on some of the other cards that you don't understand.
Yes, because
we struggled
with. Quite a few out, but we don't want to keep it too long.
So we want to look at things like the snake. We want to look at
the tower.
The tower. No, you want to look at the tower.
I want to look at the tower.
The fox as well. So in the next installment, that's what we'll be looking at. Make sure you subscribe, just because you get more of us.
Oh, and wine.
Well, then we're not supplying the wine, so.